The intelligence reports reached German High Command on September 8, 1943, confirming what had been suspected for weeks, but was now undeniable reality that could no longer be ignored or minimized. Italy had signed an armistice with the Allied powers, abandoning Germany and the Axis cause. Marshal Badoglio's government, which had replaced Mussolini after his dramatic arrest in July following the Grand Council's vote, had secretly negotiated surrender terms with the Allies through intermediaries and announced them publicly as Allied forces landed at Salerno on Italy's western coast. The Italian military, Germany's principal ally in the Mediterranean theatre and the foundation of Axis strategy in southern Europe, had ceased fighting. The entire defensive structure of southern Europe had collapsed overnight without warning to German commanders in the field. Field Marshal Albert Kesselring, commanding German forces in Italy with responsibility for the entire Mediterranean theatre, received the news at his headquarters near Rome. The armistice announcement created immediate and catastrophic military crisis, affecting every aspect of German operations in Italy and the wider region. German forces in Italy were positioned strategically to support Italian units defending against Allied invasion from Sicily and potential landings elsewhere on the peninsula. The strategic planning developed over months assumed continued Italian cooperation in defending the peninsula against Allied forces. The sudden Italian withdrawal from the war left German forces dangerously exposed, surrounded by former allies who might transform into enemies overnight, and facing Allied invasions without the manpower to defend the entire Italian coastline or maintain control of critical infrastructure. The scale of the disaster became clear as reports arrived throughout the day from German units stationed throughout Italy, from the Alps to Sicily. Italian military forces were dissolving in real time. Some units declared neutrality and disarmed themselves voluntarily, seeking to avoid conflict with either German forces or advancing allies. Others actively resisted German attempts to disarm them, leading to firefights between former allies who had fought side by side for years. In some areas, Italian troops actively aided Allied forces, or joined partisan groups forming in the mountains and countryside. The 650,000 Italian soldiers who had been defending Italy alongside German forces had become at best unreliable and at worst openly hostile to continued German presence. General Alfred Jodl, Chief of Operations at German High Command and one of Hitler's closest military advisors, briefed Hitler on the developing situation from the Wolfsschanze in East Prussia, where the Führer had established his headquarters. The Führer's reaction was volcanic rage mixed with bitter vindication and savage satisfaction at being proven correct. Hitler had long distrusted Italian military capability based on poor performance in Greece, North Africa, and Russia, and Italian political reliability given the Italian people's evident lack of enthusiasm for the war. He had privately predicted Italian betrayal to his inner circle repeatedly. Now his predictions had proven accurate. But vindication provided no solution to the military catastrophe that Italian collapse created. The strategic implications were immediately apparent and uniformly negative. Allied forces controlled Sicily and were landing on the Italian mainland. Without Italian forces to hold defensive positions, German units would have to defend the entire peninsula with insufficient manpower. The Balkans, where Italian occupation forces had maintained control, were now vulnerable to partisan uprisings and Allied intervention. German forces in southern Italy risked encirclement and destruction if they could not withdraw northward quickly. Kesselring and Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, who commanded German forces in northern Italy, received orders to execute contingency plans developed precisely for this scenario. German planners had not trusted Italian reliability and had prepared operations to disarm Italian forces and seize control of strategic points if Italy defected. But planning for contingency and executing operations amid chaos were different challenges. German forces had to disarm former allies, defend against Allied invasions, and establish new defensive lines simultaneously. The operation to disarm Italian forces proceeded with mixed results. In some locations, German units successfully surrounded Italian garrisons and accepted their surrender without fighting. In Rome, German paratroopers seized key positions and forced Italian units to disband. In northern Italy, German forces moved quickly to control Alpine passes and industrial centers. But in southern Italy and the Balkans, many Italian units escaped with their weapons or actively resisted German attempts to disarm them. The human dimension of the collapse added complexity to the military crisis. Individual German officers had served alongside Italian counterparts for years. Personal relationships existed between commanders and staffs. The sudden transformation of allies into prisoners or enemies created emotional and practical difficulties. German units operating in Italian territory depended on Italian logistical support and local cooperation. The collapse of Italian government authority meant German forces operated in hostile territory without reliable supply lines or intelligence networks. The Allied landings at Salerno posed immediate tactical crisis. American and British forces were establishing beachheads while Italian defenses disintegrated. German units rushed south to contain the landings while simultaneously disarming Italian garrisons. The competing demands stretched German forces to breaking point. Kesselring had to choose between defending against Allied invasion and securing control of former Italian positions. He chose to prioritize stopping the Allied advance, accepting temporary loss of control in some areas. Hitler's orders compounded the difficulties. The Führer demanded that Italy be held at all costs, that German forces defend as far south as possible, and that no territory be surrendered without fight. The orders ignored military realities. German forces lacked strength to defend all of Italy against determined Allied advance. Defending far south meant risking encirclement. Strategic withdrawal to defensible positions in northern Italy made military sense but violated Hitler's insistence on holding ground. The generals faced impossible choices shaped by both military necessity and political constraints. Kesselring advocated defending in southern Italy to keep Allied forces as far as possible from German borders and to protect northern Italian industrial resources. Rommel argued for withdrawal to the Po River Valley, where German forces could establish strong defensive line with shorter frontage requiring fewer troops. Hitler's interference prevented coherent strategy, leaving German forces committed to extended defense without adequate resources. The Balkan situation worsened in parallel with Italian collapse. Italian occupation forces in Yugoslavia, Greece, and Albania had maintained fragile control over territories seething with partisan resistance. Italian withdrawal left vacuums that partisan forces rushed to fill. German units scattered across the Balkans had to assume occupation duties while facing growing partisan attacks. The additional burden strained German resources already stretched by Italian front demands. The German divisions that had been fighting alongside Italian forces on the Eastern Front faced different crises. Italian Eighth Army had been destroyed at Stalingrad, but other Italian units remained on the Eastern Front in summer 1943. The armistice announcement meant these units ceased fighting immediately. German commanders had to disarm Italian units while maintaining defensive positions against Soviet attacks. The sudden loss of Allied manpower created gaps in German lines that Soviet forces exploited. The naval situation deteriorated with particular severity. The Italian fleet, one of the largest navies in the Mediterranean, had been Germany's principal naval ally. Italian control of naval bases from Taranto to La Spezia had secured German maritime logistics. The armistice terms required Italy to surrender its fleet to the Allies. German forces attempted to seize Italian warships before they could escape to Allied ports. But most of the fleet evaded German control and sailed to Malta to surrender to Allied forces. The intelligence disaster compounded military setbacks. Italian military intelligence had provided information about Allied operations and intentions. Italian diplomatic presence in neutral countries had supplied intelligence about Allied planning. Italian cryptographic cooperation had aided German signals intelligence. The armistice ended all intelligence sharing and exposed German operations that had depended on Italian cooperation. The intelligence void left German commanders partially blind to Allied intentions. The economic consequences were severe and immediate. Northern Italian industry produced weapons, vehicles, and equipment for German forces. Italian factories manufactured everything from rifles to aircraft engines. The armistice threw industrial production into chaos. Italian workers had no incentive to continue producing for Germany. German administrators had to impose direct control over factories while ensuring workers continued production. The disruption reduced output precisely when German forces needed maximum industrial support. The propaganda defeat was almost as damaging as military collapse. Germany had portrayed the Axis alliance as brotherhood of nations fighting for new European order against plutocratic democracies. Italian defection exposed the hollowness of Axis solidarity. German propaganda struggled to explain how principal ally had betrayed the cause. The defection raised questions among German allies about German reliability and ultimate victory. Romania, Hungary, and Finland watched Italian collapse and drew obvious conclusions about their own positions. The generals absorbing reports of Italian collapse recognized that strategic situation had fundamentally changed. Germany now fought alone in the Mediterranean without reliable allies. The Italian front that had tied down Allied forces and protected southern Europe had disintegrated. German forces would defend Italy alone against Allied armies that controlled the sea, dominated the air, and possessed unlimited material resources. The mathematics of the situation pointed to inevitable defeat in Italy and eventual Allied invasion of Germany itself. Kesselring's defense of Italy through late 1943 and 1944 demonstrated remarkable tactical skill, using terrain and fortifications to delay Allied advance. But the defensive successes were tactical achievements within strategic failure. German forces were defending territory they ultimately could not hold, with resources they could not replace against enemies who could sustain casualties and continue advancing. The Italian front became a slow retreat, punctuated by defensive stands, each position eventually abandoned under Allied pressure. The psychological impact on German generals was profound and corrosive. They had allied with Italy expecting mutual support in war against common enemies. The alliance had proven worthless when tested. Italian military performance had been poor throughout the war, but the armistice revealed something worse than incompetence. It revealed that Italy had never been committed to the alliance. The betrayal, as German officers perceived it, confirmed Hitler's cynical view of alliances and undermined confidence in Germany's remaining allies. The German generals learned of Italian front collapse through fragmentary reports that accumulated into a picture of comprehensive disaster. Each report brought new crisis requiring immediate response: Italian units disarming, Allied forces landing, partisan attacks increasing, naval bases threatened, industrial production disrupted. The cascade of failures overwhelmed German capacity to respond effectively. The generals improvised responses to immediate crises, while recognizing that fundamental strategic position had deteriorated beyond repair. The irony was that German planning had anticipated Italian defection and prepared contingency operations. But anticipating disaster and preventing its consequences were different challenges. German forces executed disarmament operations competently and established defensive positions skillfully. The tactical responses worked as well as could be expected. But tactical competence could not overcome strategic impossibility of defending Italy alone against Allied superiority in manpower, material, and industrial capacity. The collapse of the Italian front marked the moment when Germany's strategic position in the Mediterranean became untenable. The alliance that was supposed to secure southern Europe and threaten Allied positions in the Middle East had dissolved. German forces found themselves defending territory with insufficient resources against enemies who could concentrate overwhelming force at points of their choosing. The generals learned in September 1943 that Germany would fight the rest of the war without effective allies, defending on all fronts simultaneously, bleeding resources in campaigns that delayed but could not prevent defeat. The intelligence reaching German headquarters on September 8, 1943, confirmed military catastrophe. But the deeper disaster was strategic. Germany had bet on alliance warfare and found its principal ally unreliable when tested. The Italian front's collapse was military setback. The revelation that alliances provided no security and that Germany stood essentially alone against coalition of powers with superior resources was strategic disaster from which Germany could not recover. The German generals learned that the Italian front had collapsed. The lesson was that Germany's strategic position had collapsed with it.